Hello and welcome to Shubhra Ranjan IAS. I am Aman Soni and I will be discussing with you the Indian economy portion of the UPSC Civil Services Exams Prelims exam for the year 2022. Look, we will be discussing the questions, but first thing is, whatever was the trend last year, same thing has continued. Last year the questions were from concepts. This year also the questions are from concepts. Gone are the days when the questions were totally from current affairs. Now UPSC is asking core concepts from Indian economy. So your concepts have to be crystal clear. Alright. So now let's start the discussion. I'm discussing with you section A. Alright. I'm discussing with you the set A. I am discussing with you. Alright. So this was the first question, all right. So the first question is that rapid financing instrument and rapid credit facility are related to the provisions of which of these institutions? Look, this rapid financing instrument and rapid credit facility, they were in news, rather RFI was in news. Why was it in news? Because Sri Lanka was asking emergency funds from IMF because it was having BOP crisis. So this rapid financing instrument and rapid credit facility instruments both are used by the IMF to provide funding to member countries which are having BOP crisis. But rapid credit facility is given for low income countries. Alright. In both the cases, both these instruments, they are taken when the full-fledged program is not required, extended fund facility is not required, and we can just manage by these two. Alright. So if you had read the newspaper, then you would know, then you would have understand that yes, RFI, rapid financing instrument, is related to IMF because Sri Lanka has been asking aid from IMF for its BOP crisis. Even if you had not read the current affairs, in that case you would have read in the core concepts that IMF uses various instruments to lend money to its member countries which are facing BOP crisis, and one of them is extended fund facility. At the same time, there are other instruments also. So the names to financing instrument is given by IMF only. So even by logic also you could have answered this question, which is answer is IMF, answer is B. All right. So if I go by verdict on this question was easy and this question should have been done. All right. Now let's move to the second question. All right. Now second question is about NEER and REER, nominal effective exchange rate and real effective exchange rate. Look, we have discussed in classes what is fixed exchange rate, what is floating exchange rate. At the same time, we have discussed in classes what is NEER and REER. NEER and REER are just indices which are used to compare the competitiveness of our currency with respect to 6 other currencies or with respect to 36 different currencies. Now point is, ideally when we say that $1 is equal to 70 rupees and then $1 is equal to 80 rupees. This is what? This is depreciation of rupee, right? This is depreciation of rupee. And we know one thing, that depreciation of rupee, it is good for exports. Alright, depreciation of rupee, it increases competitiveness of our exports. But if I talk about NEER and REER, they are just indices with the base value given as 100. We'll have a base year, and for the base year the value will be 100. So if NEER or REER goes from 100 to 110, it is appreciation of rupee. Or even I would say in this case, if NEER goes from 70 to 80, it is appreciation of rupee. Alright, so if it says that an increase, let's say the first statement now, an increase in nominal effective exchange rate indicates appreciation of rupee, yes, this statement is correct. Then an increase in REER indicates an improvement in trade competitiveness, nahi, because if increase in REER is what? like this. If rear is increasing, it means currency is appreciating. It is not good for currency's competitiveness. It is not good for country's exports. So this statement is wrong. So now let us see the options. If you see the option, then we have to tell the correct statement. First, second statement is wrong. This A, it contains 2, not applicable. B contains 2, not applicable. D contains 2, not applicable. So even by elimination, we can find out that C is the correct answer. All right, 1 and 3. If you want to see conceptual clarity, then it's not for the answer perspective. I'm just giving you knowledge here that if I say that increasing trend in domestic inflation relative to inflation in other countries is likely to cause an increasing divergence between near and rear. Point ये है that near is nominal effective exchange rate, rear it is real effective exchange rate. Rear takes into consideration inflation also. So if inflation is increasing, then obviously there will be a difference between near and rear. All right. So that's what it is saying, that increasing trend in inflation is likely to cause an increasing divergence between near and rear. Yes, this statement is correct. But point is, we need not even go to the third statement. We can just answer the questions by using the second statement. All right. So answer in this case is C. Let's move to the next question. Third question. With reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. If the inflation is too high, RBI is likely to buy government securities. Point is, if inflation is high, in that case, RBI would have to reduce the liquidity. RBI has to reduce liquidity. Now, if RBI buys government securities, if RBI buys government securities, it will have to provide liquidity, it will have to inject liquidity. So RBI is buying RBI buying government security will be actually injecting liquidity in the system, which will create inflation. So point is, we need to, but if inflation is too high, that in that case we need to reduce inflation. Hence, if inflation is high, RBI will not be buying government securities, RBI will be selling government securities. RBI will sell government securities, would absorb the additional liquidity. All right. So first statement is wrong. We have to tell the correct statement. So again, we need not even see the second and third statement, because you see this first is wrong. So this is eliminated, this is eliminated, this is eliminated. Answer is B only, 2 and 3. Again, I'm telling you from knowledge perspective. If rupee is rapidly depreciating, RBI is likely to sell dollars in the market. Exactly. If rupee is depreciating, then RBI will have to increase the supply of dollars. Why is rupee depreciating? Rupee would depreciate because there is reduction of supply of dollars in the market. In that case, if RBI sells dollars, there will be increase in supply of dollars. That would stop the depreciation of rupee. Hence, this statement is correct. If interest rate in USA or European Union to fall, that is likely to induce RBI to buy dollars. It's long relation. It says, if interest rates in USA or European Union falls, obviously if interest rates in European Union or US falls, then there will be inflow of FPI into India. Inflow of FPI into India would make rupee appreciate. If rupee appreciates, export competitiveness reduces. Hence, to make the export competitiveness, RBI will have to buy excess dollars. So if interest rates in USA or European Union were to fall, that is likely to induce RBI to buy dollars. Yes, this statement is also correct. Answer is 2 and 3 only. We could have arrived at that statement by elimination. The point is, I just forgot to tell you that this question, second question, near and rear, we could have got the answer by elimination. So my verdict on this question, it is easy question. It should have been cleared. It should have been cleared. Then first statement I told you, this should have been cleared. So first, this 1 mark. We could have got one correct question over here. This was also easy. We could get second correct question over here. Third question was also we could solve it through elimination. So this question should also be correct. Third question, it was an easy question. All right, so we have got 3 out of 3 till now. Let's continue. With reference to G20 framework, consider the following statements. Now, thing is, G20 framework, it was not in news in the last 1 year. G20 framework was in news during COVID times. Because during COVID times, what was happening is the debt of countries, especially the lower income countries, it was increasing to unsustainable level. Hence, to help those countries, G20 countries, the new creditors of G countries, along with the older official creditors of G20, which is also called the Paris Club, all of them they decided to lend money to these lower income countries. All right. So that was the overview of what is G20 framework and Paris Group. Paris Group is like their official creditors, the old official creditors in the G20 framework. So with reference to G20 common framework, consider the following statements. It is an initiative endorsed by the G20 with the Paris Club. This statement is correct. It is an initiative to support low-income countries with unsustainable debt. Yes, this statement is also correct. Both statements are correct. So then, verdict. Thing is, if you have been preparing for UPSC for the last 2 years, this would have been easy question. But if you have not been preparing, this question would be a difficult question. So in that case, I would suggest you to leave this question. Totally leave this question. Do not go for guessing. Don't get yourself 0.66 negative marks. You see this year's prelims, you see last year's prelims cutoff 87. You attempt 45 questions, you get 45 correct, you are through. You don't have to attempt 80 questions to get 87. You're getting my point? So you attempt only those questions in which you are 100% very sure. So in this question, I am not sure if you are not sure. If you are not sure, don't go for this question. All right, I would suggest this question to be a difficult level, we would leave it. Let's move to the next question. Now, question number 5, it talks about inflation indexed bonds. Why do we have this question? We have this question because inflation was in news. Look, near question had to come. The previous question regarding inflation, it had to come because, look, I was expecting at least 2 questions from inflation, at least 2 questions from exchange rate. Because in the last 1 year, rupee has depreciated a lot. In the last 6-7 months, inflation has been very, very high. So if inflation is very, very high, that time, obviously we know the real interest rate would go down. The real interest rate goes down, the bonds do not remain like attractive for the investors, especially government securities. They're not going to remain attractive for the investors because the real interest rate would go down. So if the real interest rate goes down, how would the government be able to take care of its borrowing requirement? Government needs to borrow. So when inflation is high, that time government would introduce inflation indexed bonds, as happened in 2013. In 2013, government introduced inflation indexed bonds in which the interest rate was 1.5% plus whatever would be the WPI percentage. Whatever would be the rate of inflation of WPI plus 1.5% would be the total interest rate which I would get. So if WPI percentage would be 6%, I would get an interest rate of 7.5%. So in that case, if inflation is 6%, I am getting 7.5% interest rate. I am actually sure of getting 1.5% of real interest rate. We know one thing, that during periods of high inflation, real interest rate would go down. Suppose I am buying a bond which has a 4% interest rate. WPI inflation is 6% interest rate. WPI inflation is 6%. My bond is giving me 4% interest. I am getting a real interest rate of -2%. But if I'm buying a inflation index bonds in which it is giving me 1.5% plus WPI plus WPI, it means whatever is the inflation, 10% or 5% or 6% or whatever is the inflation, I am sure of getting at least 1.5% positive real interest rate. Okay? So these inflation index bonds were introduced in 2013, where I was given a interest rate of 1.5% minimum. That is, if WPI is suppose minus 4%, suppose we get into a negative territory, that doesn't mean that I will be paying, I will be getting a minus 2.5% interest from the bank, from the government. No. It means that if WPI is negative, then I get at least 1.5% positive interest rate. And if WPI is positive, then I get whatever is the positive plus 1.5% of that WPI inflation. So initially when inflation index bonds were brought, that time the inflation which was used was WPI. Later on, Raghuram Rajan, the RBI governor, he changed this WPI to CPI, that we would be getting the interest rate depending upon the CPI inflation. All right. Then another thing. So point is, now when inflation it increased in India, again there were talks, there were suggestions that government should introduce inflation indexed bonds. All right. Now point is, when a government would be floating government security, it would give say 5%, 6% interest rate. All right. Nominal interest rate. But when the government is providing inflation indexed bonds, it need not provide this much high coupon interest rate. It just need to say 1.5% plus WPI percent. So coupon rate reduces. Coupon rate becomes 1.5%. All right. So point is, with reference to Indian economy, what is the advantage of inflation index bonds? So now from all this discussion, you would have understood what are the advantages of inflation index bonds. Now let's discuss. Yeah. So government can reduce the coupon rates on its borrowing by way of inflation index bonds. Yes, it is correct. We just discussed it. IIBs provide protection to investors from uncertainty regarding inflation. Exactly. If inflation is increasing, still they get positive real interest rate. If it becomes deflation, still they get 1.5% interest rate. All right. So second statement is correct. The interest received as well as capital gains on IIBs are not taxable. This statement is wrong. The interest received on capital on inflation index bonds, it is on it tax is imposed. All right. So they are not outside the purview of taxation. On them tax is imposed. So third statement is wrong. Answer is 1 and 2 only. Answer is A. I hope the question is clear to you. This question, verdict. Verdict, I would say, if you have known the concept of inflation index bonds, you could have solved it. So by a little bit of logic, you could have solved this question. I would give the verdict of medium. Not because of this, just because of this statement. I would give it a rating of medium question. This is the easy part, because why would there be like why would it be non-taxable? There's no reason for it. All right. So just for this statement, I am giving it a medium. But all those aspirants who have serious knowledge, who have serious conceptual clarity, they should have got this. They should have got this question as correct. All right. The previous one was a conceptual question. Here comes a current affairs question. All right, current affairs from the last 1 year. With reference to foreign owned e-commerce firms operating in India, which of the following statements are correct? In 2021, there was a lot of controversy, lot of confusion regarding foreign investments in e-commerce sector, and government brought a lot of regulations regarding FDI in e-commerce sector. First statement is, they can sell their own goods in addition to offering their platforms as marketplace. No. E-commerce platforms like Amazon, they cannot sell their own goods. They are just a marketplace. There is no inventory based model in multi-brand retail. They just cannot sell their own goods, because there is example of Cloudtail, where Amazon was selling its own goods through Cloudtail. That is not allowed because it would be giving an unnecessary advantage to the firm, to the marketplace, to the entity which owns the marketplace, because it is selling its own good. If it is selling its own goods through a third party, it's like going towards inventory based model. But we do not have that inventory based model. Amazon is a marketplace where different sellers can come and sell their own good. In that case, if the marketplace is selling its own goods, why would it encourage the goods of other sellers? In search, it would be showing only its goods on tops. It would be giving more discounts on its goods. It would be a sort of biasness towards other sellers. So this is not allowed. They can sell their own goods in addition to offering. नहीं कर सकते ऐसे. The degree to which they can own big sellers on their platform is limited. Yes, the degree to which they can own big sellers, there is a limit on how much they can control. All right. So this statement is correct. So answer for sixth question is B. Now, seventh question. Now, if I talk about economy, it can be divided. Economy can be divided into real sector as well as financial sector. Real sector consists of primary sector and secondary sector. In primary sector, we do not produce anything. We are just extracting from earth. We are just extracting from earth. Example, agriculture. In secondary sector, we are constructing something, we are producing something. Example, a manufacturing activity. Financial sector, it talks about the money surplus. If we have surplus money and if it is getting invested somewhere, this money surplus, it talks about financial sector. Financial sector is there to support the real sector. So question is, which of the following activities constitute the real sector in the economy? Farmers harvesting their crops? Yes. Textile mills converting raw cotton into fabrics? Yes. A commercial bank leading money to a trading company? Nahi, ye nahi hai. Because this is financial sector, this is not real sector. So now let's see the options. Third statement is wrong. Third is included here. Not allowed, not allowed, not allowed. Answer is A. 1 and 2 only. So by elimination, we can get first statement A as correct. Hence, this statement is a verdict. This question was easy. This question should have been done. So this question, I rated this question, this inflation indexed bonds, this should also have been done. Sorry. So again, inflation index bonds, I would rate this as fourth question which could have been done. Foreign owned e-commerce, this would be the fifth one. Sixth question which could have been done. It was very easy question. We could have got 6. So now you see this. We are on 8th question of the paper and we are confident of 6 questions. So that would raise your confidence very, very high. It would increase your confidence. तो भी आगे चलते हैं. Seventh question, a conceptual question, right? Fifth question, inflation index bonds, a current affairs questions plus conceptual question. Sorry, I'm this. Yeah. I'm okay. This sixth question, again current affairs questions. Okay? Then let's come to 8th question. 8th question was also a current affairs based question. Recently, government amended its law on retrospective taxation. In 2012, Indian government had brought retrospective taxation, where it was imposing taxes on those transactions even which were done before 2012. So recently India has amended that retrospective taxation law. So point is, in that retrospective taxation, what was important is we imposed taxes on two firms. One was Vodafone, on Vodafone transaction, and another was Kane Energy transaction. So what was happening in case of Vodafone was that Vodafone, it had acquired Hutch. Alright, but instead of acquiring Hutch, Vodafone acquired CGP Investments, which was a shell company in Cayman Island. And this CGP investment, it was owner of Hutch. So point is, if Vodafone had acquired Hutch in India, it would have included purchase of shares, giving it money. So if Vodafone had purchased Hutch in India, it would have been a case of capital gains tax. But Vodafone did not want to pay capital gains tax. Hence what Vodafone did? Vodafone acquired CGP Investment, which was the owner of Hutch. CGP Investment, a shell company. So point is, now this transaction, it happened outside India. As it happened outside India, India was not able to collect capital gains tax on it. Alright. So this case, when Vodafone is acquiring CGP Investment, which is owning assets of Indian company, this is called indirect transfer. Alright, that is, a foreign company is buying a company which has its assets in India. So now let's see the options. From the options we can find out that the final option, what is happening? What is indirect transfer? A foreign company transfers shares, Vodafone, and such shares derive their substantial value from assets located in India. So CGP Investment is getting its value from Hutch, which is having its asset in India. So answer is D. Again, my verdict on this question, an easy question, it should have been done because of being in news for such a long time, retrospective taxation. Alright, ninth question. Now, with reference to the expenditure made by an organization or a company, which of the following statements are correct? First is, acquiring new technology is capital expenditure. Yes, if a company is buying new physical assets like building, like machinery, or if it's buying new technology, it is capital expenditure. This statement is correct. Debt financing is considered capital expenditure, while equity financing is considered revenue expenditure. Point is, if it is expenditure, whether it is capital or revenue, both of them, they involve cash outflow. On the other hand, whether it is debt financing or it is equity financing, both lead to cash inflow. So point is, whether it is debt financing or it is equity financing, they do not lead to any expenditure. We can use the funds of debt financing or we can use the funds of equity financing for revenue expenditure or for capital expenditure, but they are not expenditure as such. Alright, so this statement is wrong. Answer is A only. Again, I would say, with logic, you could have solved this question. If there's no logic, you want to play safe, you could have left this question. Alright, you could have left this question. Next statement, next question. Eighth question, I would say, we could do eighth question, so it would be the seventh question on our list. Alright. 10th question. At least I am happy that one question has come from economic survey. Students, they spend a lot of time in reading economic survey, in budget. They are so much worried कि sir economic survey करा दो, sir budget करा दो. They think कि पता नहीं क्या ही हो जाएगा इससे. But point is, only one question has come. And even if you are not reading economic survey, still through logic, through little bit of reading of newspaper, you could have solved this question. So question है that with reference to Indian economy, consider the following statements. a share of household financial savings goes towards government borrowings. This statement is correct. Why it is correct? We can have multiple dimensions. First, nowadays households can buy government securities directly. If they are not buying government securities directly, then household saving, it is channelized into where? Channelized to banks, channelized to mutual funds, channelized to insurance funds. And what do banks, mutual funds, insurance funds do with that money? They buy government security, say RBI, which is issuing on behalf of government. So yes, a share of household financial savings goes towards government borrowing. It is correct. Answer is, this statement 1 is correct. Dated securities issued at market related rates in auctions form a large component of internal debt. If I talk about total public debt of India, public debt के अंदर internal debt is the major component, external debt is very less component of total public debt. And if I talk about total internal debt, majority of internal debt is being done through dated securities. Approximately 70% of internal debt is being done through dated securities at market related rates. So this statement is also correct. This question was also easy. Little bit of knowledge from economic survey, little bit of newspaper reading, little bit of logic over here, you could have got this question correct. So answer is C only. Alright. So first 10, I like this question paper. Why I like this question paper is it's like it was a sort of sectional test. कि भाई देखो पहले 10 क्वेश्चन इकोनॉमिक्स, दूसरे 10 क्वेश्चन ज्योग्राफी, थर्ड 10 क्वेश्चंस पॉलिटी, 10 क्वेश्चंस साइंस एंड टेक, 10 क्वेश्चंस एनवायरनमेंट, 10 क्वेश्चंस हिस्ट्री. So now we have done 10 questions. Now let's do jumble up. So whatever important thing is left, now let's fill it up. So in that case, it was like very easy. Earlier what would happen is in the question papers, question from history, question from geography, question from polity, question from economy, you need to switch on, switch off your mind. अभी it is simple कि भाई 10 क्वेश्चन इकोनॉमिक्स के हैं तो 10 क्वेश्चन डायरेक्टली कर दो चुपचाप. ठीक है. So in that case I liked it. So after 10th question, now we jump directly to the 61st question. All right. Now let's move to 61st question. All right. 61st question. It is like one thing which is over a period of time we have been able to understand that UPSC has certain favorite topics. Inflation is favorite topic. US Federal Reserve changing interest rate is another topic which is very, very liked by UPSC. Somehow they would fit in the options somewhere. कुछ भी क्वेश्चन हो, इन्फ्लेशन हो, एक्सचेंज रेट हो, बैंक हो, कुछ भी हो, यूएस फेडरल रिजर्व इंक्रीजिंग इंटरेस्ट रेट डाल दो बीच, डाल दो. ठीक है. चलो आगे पढ़ते हैं. तो इट सेज कि टाइट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी ऑफ यूएस फेडरल रिजर्व कुड लीड टू कैपिटल फ्लाइट. तो टाइट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी क्या है? इसका मतलब इंटरेस्ट रेट increasing. So obviously if interest rate is increasing in US, then the interest rate differential, that's a difference which is making the FPIs invest in India, the interest rate differential, it would change. So now because of increase in interest rates over there, FPI would move out, and that is what is called capital flight. So tight monetary policy of US Federal Reserve could lead to capital flight. Yes, this option is correct. Capital flight may increase the interest cost of firms with existing external commercial borrowings. अभी ये बात समझो. Point ये है कि if there is FPI outflow, don't you think rupee would depreciate? If rupee, that is what is called exchange rate risk, right? If rupee depreciates, suppose the company had borrowed $100 at 10% rate of interest, so it would have to pay $110 now. And suppose when it borrowed, it was borrowing at $1 equal to 50, and now at time of returning, $1 has become $1 equal to 60. So the company was thinking it had to return $110 at 50 rupees, it would have to return 5,500 rupees. But now as on returning time, rupee has depreciated. To return $110, the company has to pay 6,600 rupees. So obviously the cost of interest has increased for the company. So capital flight may increase the interest cost of firms with existing ECBs. Yes, this statement is correct. So now first and second are correct. So we are on to this and we are on to this. So decision maker is third statement. Now devaluation of domestic currency decreases the currency risk associated with ECB. How? When the domestic currency is devaluated, the impact is same as depreciation. ECB will have to pay more interest. Alright. So it will not be reducing the risk, it will be increasing the risk. Answer is D. Devaluation of domestic currency decreases the currency risk associated with ECB. No, it doesn't do it. So answer is 1 and 2 only. Consider the following statements. I don't know from where did this question come up. Alright. Whether it's a geography question or economy question, I do not know, but still I would discuss. So consider the following statements. Andhra, Kerala, Himachal, Tripura. How many of the above are generally known as tea producing states? No one would have a doubt on Kerala, Himachal and Tripura. All three are there. People would be doubting Andhra because Andhra has sort of hot climate. Alright. So but still Andhra, it grows tea. So answer is all four states, they grow tea. They are tea producing states. Next question. This question, 61st question, I would mark it as easy. Source, concepts. I would mark 62nd question also as easy. Again, source, concepts or say maps. Sixty-third question. So consider the following statements. In India, credit rating agencies are regulated by RBI? No. Credit rating agencies in India are regulated by SEBI. Alright. So obviously, first is correct. So we are on to 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. The rating agency, ICRA, is a public limited company. This is the factual question. We do not have any business of knowing in detail whether ICRA is a public limited or it's not a public limited company. So if this statement comes up, I would prefer to leave. As we say in like nowadays, a test match is going on between New Zealand and England in Lords. India would also be going to England, and in England the ball swings and they say left beautifully. So here also, you see this option, you leave this beautifully. So we leave this question. All right. Brickworth Rating is an Indian credit rating agency. Bhai, ye to it's like googly. The name suggests कि foreigner है, name suggests in swing है, it goes out swing. Because Brickwork Rating is an Indian credit rating agency, it has been floated by Canara Bank. All right. But still, I need to discuss it, right? So the rating agency popularly known as ICRA is a public limited company. ये सही है. It is an Indian credit rating agency. ये भी सही है. But this is not my mistake. This is not correct. So first statement is not correct. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Answer is 2 and 3 only. And how what I was discussing. So point is, sorry, it was my mistake. I had to tell. I told you all these things. Simple is, when SEBI is regulating, first statement becomes wrong. First C1 CD, we can leave it. But point is, yes, point is, many of you would be thinking credit rating agencies give rating to government, give rating to banks, may be regulated by RBI. Sort of confusing thing. So point is, if you are not sure about it, because this question cannot be derived through logic, it's not a concept, I would still leave this question. Okay? Because in economics, if the question is about fact, I would prefer not to do it, because fact can be wrong, logic, concept, they cannot be wrong. Next question is about Bank Board Bureau. Simple question. The governor of RBI is the chairman of Bank Board Bureau. Nahi, governor of RBI is not the chairman of Bank Board Bureau. All right. So if you're not aware about this, we'll still wait. All right. We'll still wait. Bank Board Bureau recommends for the selection of heads of public sector banks. This we know. This is 100% correct. So this is correct. So if second is correct, which all become correct? This. Bank Board Bureau help the public sector banks in developing strategies and capital raising plans. Yes, this is also correct. So 2 and 3 becomes correct. We are now confused between 1, 2 and 3 and this, right? But we know one thing, governor of RBI is not the chairman. So this statement is wrong. 2 and 3 are correct. Answer is B, 2 and 3. All right. I would say this question to be easy because Bank Board Bureau has been in news regularly. Somewhere or the other it comes into news. It is also present in most of the reference books for Indian economy. Bank Board Bureau. I would label this question as easy. Sixty-fifth question. With reference to convertible bonds, consider the following statements. As there is an option to exchange the bond for equity, convertible bonds pay a lower interest. Yes, convertible bonds are those bonds which can be converted into equity. So as they provide a flexibility to the investor that it can be converted into equity, hence as compared to the other traditional bonds, convertible bonds, they offer less interest rate. This statement is correct. The option to convert to equity affords the bondholder a degree of indexation to raising consumer prices. Now, point ये है कि if inflation increases, real interest rate reduces. At the same time, if inflation increases, till the time RBI doesn't increase interest rates, if inflation is increasing, equities, they perform better as compared to bonds. So point is, if inflation is increasing, what would you do with your convertible bond? Would you hold, or would you get it converted into equity? You would surely get it converted into equity. Hence, this statement is also correct, that the option to convert to equity affords the bondholder a degree of indexation to rising consumer prices. Answer is C, easy. Because last year also we got some question, something related to this. All right, convertible bond was there in some option last year also. Consider the following statements. It is like a sort of static current affair just to check your factual knowledge. Consider the following statements. We have to tell India is a member of which of the above. We know one thing. India is a member of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. India is a founding member. Missile Technology Control Regime. If you remember, in 2015, India was made member of Missile Technology Control Regime. If you are reading international relations, this question would become easier for you. India is also a member of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. India and Pakistan both became member of SCO in 2017. India became member of Missile Technology Control Regime in 2015. Answer is 1, 2 and 3. ठीक है? Next question is about Vietnam. I am not solving it, but I still don't know why Vietnam has become so much interesting. Yeah. 68th question. In India, which of the following is responsible for maintaining price stability by controlling inflation? How can they ask such a simple question? That is, who is controlling inflation? Still, they need to take care of everyone. They need to give confidence to each type of candidate. Even UPSC believes in सबका साथ सबका विकास. तो गरीब से गरीब स्टूडेंट, पुअर से पुअर स्टूडेंट का ध्यान रखा है, इसलिए लड्डू क्वेश्चन पूछा है कि विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर मेंटेनिंग प्राइस स्टेबिलिटी बाय कंट्रोलिंग इन्फ्लेशन. आंसर क्या है इसका? आरबीआई. ठीक है. Then, with reference to non-fungible tokens, consider the following statements. Non-fungible tokens, current affairs questions, very, very important question, was in so much of news. Everyone would be knowing everything about NFT. Still, I would discuss it. Okay? So, they enable digital representation of physical assets. Yes, non-fungible token, they are digital representation of any physical asset. Whether it is a painting or it is a book or it is a literature, whatever it is, if it is converted into digital form, it becomes NFT, non-fungible token. ये option है correct. They are unique cryptographic tokens that exist on blockchain. Yes, non-fungible tokens, they are powered by blockchain, they are backed by blockchain. This statement is also correct. They can be traded or exchanged at equivalency or therefore can be used as a medium of commercial transactions. यहां पर यूपीएससी ने घुमा दिया. Because non-fungible tokens, they can be traded only, but they are not fungible tokens. We do not have any equivalence of them. So they cannot be exchanged at equivalency, and they are not used as a medium of commercial transactions. Commercial transaction के लिए तो cryptocurrency है, non-fungible token नहीं है. So non-fungible tokens, they can be traded but they cannot be used as a medium of commercial transaction. ये statement है अपनी wrong. Answer है अपना क्या रह गया? 1 and 2 only. I would still label this question as easy. ठीक है. So 69th question easy, 1 question. 68th question easy, 2 questions. 66th question easy, 3 questions. 65th question easy, 4th question. Bank Board Bureau, 5th. Credit rating, leave it. Andhra, 6th. This one, 7th. Household financial savings, 8th. This capital expenditure, 9th. Indirect transfers, 10th. Farmer harvesting, 11th. E-commerce, 12th. IIB, 13th. G20 framework I would leave. This question, third question, 14, 15, 16. So out of 18 questions in economics, you should have got 16 questions if you had a decent knowledge in the subject. If you do not have a crisp knowledge in the subject, still, even if you are getting some 13, 14 correct out of 18, it is a very, very good attempt from your side. I would take it any day. So now my last piece of advice for you. Point is that whatever has been done has been done. Just check your answer key and see how much you are getting and do it today itself. Don't stay in a limbo. Don't stay in uncertainty. If you are scoring anything above 85, as you can see from this year's cutoff, 87. If you are scoring anything above 85, start preparing for mains. If you are scoring below 85, start preparing for mains, but for next year mains. Because anyways for prelims, you would be preparing again from this year December. So this So I would suggest it to everyone, whether who is clearing the prelims cutoff or who is not clearing the prelims cutoff, from June till the month of October, November, complete your mains portion, complete your optional, complete your ethics, complete your internal security, governance part, complete the mains part, do answer writing, do all these things, because you would be coming back to prelims again in the month of December, again in the month of January. So do not start with prelims again. Another thing, whether you're writing this year mains or you're not writing this year's mains, take a break. Take a break of 7 days at least, take a break of 1 week. Go somewhere, leave your house, go somewhere, travel. Or don't tell me, sir, it's outside, it's very hot, where can we go? So in that case, stay inside your home. But don't open your books. Don't worry about anything. Whatever has been done, you just cannot change it. But point is, we need to start afresh. It's a long exam, it's very hectic exam. It takes a lot of toll. So whatever you have lost in terms of your health in the last 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks because of stress, because of excessive reading, excessive studying, please try to recover. Recover your health. You are here for a long haul. Alright? And do not give up on your dream. Certain dreams should not be ever given up on. So do not give up on your dream. If you're not scoring well, let it be. गिरते हैं शाह सवार मैदान जंग में. तो पॉइंट ये है, बड़े बड़े लोग भी हार कर जीतते हैं. So point is, even if you are losing, it's okay. Consider it as a catapult. It's pulling you back to thrust you in the front. All right. So do not worry about too much. Relax, recover, start studying again after 1 week. Till then, goodbye. Take care.